Okay, here we go for another crazy video. Okay, this is kind of a follow-up on doing the stock. And what I did was started going through these books, because it's like seeing everybody's trying to figure out what to photograph and what are ideas to work with. So I kind of look at the same thing. What are some ideas? How can we? What's going to sell? What's going to be in demand? And basically, it turns out these things are really good resource, because even though we're modern times, a lot of the fundamentals of what was happening in the old stock business hasn't changed. And so I thought I'd go through and start reviewing out of some of these books what are not going to be the current trends, but what is going to be selling 10 years from now. You can shoot it now and it's still going to be selling. You do the hot trends, yeah, this next year going to be hot. Next year, not going to make you a dime. So started going through. This is the first book I went through. I got one that's in great detail. This has got general categories. And I'm just going to take one section of this, which has always been the real money maker, the real demand for stock industry. And that is dealing with people. And the reference book on this is Stock Market Book 11, 1998. I've got more notes here to try to keep on track. And what you can learn from this, and basically the human condition has not changed. Life is still going on really much as it did back in 1998. Technology has changed. We think we've changed a lot. A lot of ways things are fundamental. So in looking at that, the first part I want to look at is the idea of people. And stock markets have really made their money on people photographs. And that's going to be continued. The reason for this is to do a commission shoot with people is perhaps one of the most expensive shoots you can do. It not only takes the time to get a really good photographer, to set everything up, to light it, to do work, all that. You also have an art director a lot of times trying to tell where and how this is going to fit into the custom ad that they're making. You're going to have models, you have the expensive models that come in, and then usually a stylist, wardrobe, makeup artist to get all the look the way you want it. You're also going to only be on location for a certain amount of time, and locations are expensive, so you only get one chance at it. If you're kind of shooting for stock and you're getting friends together or something, which I've been seeing people do, yeah, if it doesn't work quite so well this time, you can improve, come back next time. When you're doing this, it's a one-time deal. You miss, you're out the door. You're going to get somebody else to do the job, and you're going to get a bad rep real quick. So people photography is the most expensive, so that's why they want to get it in stock. And if you can just get an image from stock agency that fills your need, that's going to be way less expensive than to go through and do a custom shoot. So that's always been kind of the bread and butter. So to kind of go down the categories and to give an idea of the nature behind these photographs and why they're going to be a timeless need to it. Now, the individual shot is going to be up to the photographer, their creativity, kind of putting their twist on it, seeing what the modern styles are to go into it. But the fundamentals are still there. First one I got down here is baby children. We're still raising children. We're still enculturating them into society. That has not changed, so that's going to continue to go on. They are still going to have physical needs. They're still going to have social needs. So if you start looking at those ideas and how that applies to today, that gives you your 1%, at least your 99%, 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration, to then work that out. For some folks, they live for their kids. So obviously that's going to be a really powerful motivating to go out and buy something or to get the best for their kids. So therefore, that is going to be an ongoing topic that they're going to be working with. And it's going to be a matter of what the current trends or fashion are to work that in. But they can also be done in classic ways. Some of the ones I've seen in here could still be used today, but you got to change the wardrobe. You always got to freshen the wardrobe up to the current fashion on it. Otherwise, the things are still the same. Next one they have is teens. So it's still a transition to adulthood time. That has not changed. Trying to photograph and find that transition period, what's going on. There's still going to be rebels for first starting to feel their oats. They're going to be this more adventuresome group going out, feeling their oats. It's also the most insecure time for them. So you can think about showing that insecurity that they're going through at that period. What will I be? What do I really have to do? Start to ask, who am I? Those are questions that come up. This is also a group that's starting to get to have a purchasing power. And so working with that and tapping into what those transitional periods that will be very strong emotional times can work out very well. Also the start of discovering the opposite sex. And that's going to be, visually you can play that out in a lot of ways. To all the cultural things that go on. Later on for proms or first kiss or all those kind of things can start playing in. And they'll play into products, places for these teens to go, rock and roll music. I don't know what the music is now, but current music trends, going out doing things. It's going to be that their basic nature to work with, to then work into the current times. Woman, mother. Now you are an adult. So they've come out of their teens, now they become an adult, and all that transition into adulthood, the early needs that they may be finding, to be out on their own, to find their place in the world. Are there going to be a mother? If they're a mother, there's a whole line that goes with that. If they're out in the marketplace working, another line to follow with that. It's time to leave behind childish things, or not. A lot of times, it's again another transition. These are rites of passages that start to happen. And it's a very powerful time visually to capture, and it's a very powerful time for marketers to work with for different products that fulfill and help these needs. Men, father. What does it mean now? It's a very transitioning time to be a man or to be a father. The old roles were very defined, and now that's not the case anymore. And trying to work with that idea can be very challenging and interesting to try to portray that. Roles are changing, or they have changed, and to try to capture the old roles against the new roles to where it may be going to. Who are we today? Looking at currently where men and fathers are at, and how they're acting within society, within the workplace, within the culture. You may be shooting somebody as the office scene, but it makes a big difference if it's a father, just a man. There can be a lot to portray with that will work much more powerful than just the handshake going on. It's a time to go big. It's a time when they're let loose and they are an adult, and you can find some really adventuresome times taking place. You venture to find your place in the world. This becomes a time where it's not thinking about where you're going to be. Now you got to start really being there and doing things. So that can be very visually, you can try to capture that, looking at society, what's going on. And it's also a time of crushing defeats and new responsibilities that they never had before. So that can be portrayed in a lot of ways, but that's going to be, again, things that visually can be captured that will tie in with different marketing other areas. We also have the family. The family is still a unit, is still part of our society, and it's changing on it. They're not defined as it was before. You find in modern terms, and it continues to evolve and change. So you look at how that happens in so many ways, whether it's a single mother, whether it's a traditional family, where it's now other alternative families. Is it an extended family? Is it now where you got to have grandma and grandpa in there all the time helping out? We got a lot of friends of mine are becoming granny nannies. They're now helping out all the time with their kids and with their grandkids now. So the new and old challenges today, they saw the challenges. You got to raise the kids. You got to put a roof over your head. All those are still there. How are you going to do that? Changing roles, redefining the pure joy people are going to have for a family, the frustrations, the challenges of family. You're building memories. They may not realize it, but when you get older, you start realizing you're building memories. And for them to appreciate that visually, you can kind of try to capture that. There's a new learning curve. You're now having to learn quick because you got to survive on your own. It's happening fast. The family's got to survive. If it doesn't, go into the other side where it's going to be collapsing, all the stress, all the problems of the family. Maybe have the point where my parents had it all wrong. And maybe portraying that I was told this and no, it doesn't work that way. That was some old tape, some old propaganda they bought into. It's not that way anymore. We got to show how it's different. And other times maybe I wish I would have listened to my parents and learned more when they were saying things. I wouldn't have been making these mistakes now. And there's still a time where they get to be the family and the tween part where I'm glad mom and dad are still around. This again goes back to granny nanny. This goes back to the extended family for holidays and what goes on, both good and bad that can happen during holiday times. Okay, the next category I had was couples. And it's the new we within the couple. The we's always been there, but this is now they're portraying it in a new way. How does the couple work today and all the parts of it? It's not as defined as it was 20 years ago or 10 years ago. It's very fluctuating on it now. And how does that work out now? Now sometimes it can be very traditional still. Other times it's a whole new world. It's a whole new world who's the breadwinner or two breadwinners or no breadwinners. There's a lot going on with the couple. And how do we do this? How do we get a couple thing to work? Visually, a lot of stuff to be played within that. Couples, we never had it better. I mean, they could be where this is the greatest time. Now they have couple power happening. They're working together, fixing the house, raising the kids. A lot of things going on, or it's just first meeting, first dating, vacation trips, all kind of things happening with the couple. And then we got couple, we are in trouble. And there's a lot with that can be visually played out. So those are all just within the couple area to work in. And then we get into matures and seniors. It's the best of time, it's the worst of times. So there's some parts of it, they're going to be great going on. Some parts, yeah, it's the worst of time. And I'm certainly feeling that at times. This is the segment, when you look at the baby boomers, that has the largest purchasing power possible. Some of these people have stock portfolios that you wouldn't believe that are built up. Also land values, things like that. It's one of the marketplaces that, unbelievably enough, businesses aren't going after. They're a different market than they were back when they were teens or when they were a young couple. They've got different outlooks on life. They have a different level of security, or also one who don't have the security. It's another one to look at. Getting old is tough, and trying to show that idea that getting old isn't for the faint of heart. Things that used to come easy, things that happen with your memory, things that start happening with your body, it's a tough time. and to start showing that, and businesses that are offering things to help with that, this can be very, very good visuals to go with what they may be trying to sell or trying to say on it. Also the feeling of being obsolete, being left behind by family, by kids, left behind by technology. It's a visually, you can play that out. On the other hand, a business can say, well, you got trouble learning your computer or phone or something? Yeah, we got special classes. We can get you up with this in no time at all. It's only $9.95, and take this app. We'll show you how to put the app on there. You can do it. So that obsolescence feeling. It used to be where elders were the prize members of the community because they remembered where the best hunting grounds were, and they remembered how to weave a basket in a particular style for a particular time. Now they seem like a bunch of old folks that are just kind of way behind the times. We had the same thing. We had never trust anybody over the age of 30. Once we got to 30, we said, oh, we got to change that model quick. And now even more so. So it's always kind of happening through the quick modern times. But it's one that it's not being portrayed so much. I was looking at some things because I've got elderly models I can work with. And the stuff out there is just so monolithic that they're producing. And it's so staged, it just is really not, it doesn't portray what's really going on at all. And as such, if a marketer wants to use that, their marketing is going to fail. It's just not going to work. And also, have we turned into our parents? We go through, we're still wondering, well, our parents were this way, and now we're going through and saying, yeah, we kind of understand that now. We're kind of looking at that too. And that may be, they may not have been so far off or had everything wrong. Maybe we kind of need to reassess some of the things that they did. And the motto that kind of goes as you get along is keep your mouth shut and your pocketbook open, or your wallet open. Parents coming in, criticizing a kid, tell them how to do. A lot of times let them do it. Go through and you maybe have to financially help them along. It's part of life, part of going through. When you go in and you visually can start playing this out, a grandmother telling their daughter, what they're supposed to be doing to raise the kids. Big tension area. Ways to get around that, to go through, to gain that understanding. A lot of areas to visually play on that. Not seeing that, not seeing the reality of this mature market, senior market. At least what I've been looking on, especially as active adults. Anybody, I've got friends who are still climbing Mount Hood. They're making them look like all they can do is walk around the park. That's baloney. So that's kind of what I wanted to cover. This is the people part, kind of broad general concept ideas to work with, and then you can pretty well see within that, this is going to be going on. This won't be just a trend for next year. This is going to be a trend for years to come. And that's kind of what I'm working for. I'm working for something to have a passive income. It's going to be coming in for the next 20 years as I really stop doing anything and still have some money coming in. I need photos that are going to go through and keep producing for me, not just be the current trend. Yeah, the agencies want that because they can make a quick buck on it. But it's not what's going to give you a long-term income on this. But people in photographs, people doing things, especially some classic things, will go for a long time, especially if you don't emphasize current fashion, anything that's really super current. Obviously, if you got somebody, an old picture with them start seeing in front of an iMac or something, computer, it may have a nice retro look now if you want to wait that long, but we gotta watch it on that part if you want to have it go out for ways. But there's a lot of things that are the human condition. There will be photographs that will keep being of interest for many years to come. Okay, so this got longer than I thought it was going to be. So just wrap this up, stop the rambling going on. I just want to finish with that I have that I'll be doing more on other categories, and hopefully some folks find it of use. I'm going to use it for my own research, my own planning. So I'm going to be developing this out. Maybe do the videos just a reminder for me. I've got some more indexes out of some of these older books that go into a lot more detail about very specific categories on it. So that will be coming up hopefully. And I thank you for watching. If you got through this far, it's surprising, but I think it's information that can be useful. So that'll do it. Thank you.